Thank you all for being here. This is our Monday press conference in which we do two things. First, we go over gun violence in the prior week. And second, we talk about some important initiative, some important section of the district attorney's office and the work they are doing. Today, I am happy to tell you that we have the opportunity to give out the largest number of district attorney's office grants that we've been able to give out thus far. It could not come at a better time, and it could not be going to a better group of organizations. We have with us a total of 10 organizations today. You'll be hearing from all of them, either in person or in one instance by video. And we are very happy to see them here. We're delighted about the work that they do. And we look forward to hearing a little bit from each of these organizations about the important work that they do for prevention, the important work that they do to guide young people in directions that take them away from harm, that take them away from danger, and take them away from both ends of the gun. So we are delighted that they are here with us today. I want to acknowledge certain community stakeholders, staff, and media who are here. We have with us Myra Maxwell, who is the director of the DA's Office CARES program, which many of you know about, that provides specialized services to victims of homicide and their families during the first 45 days after a killing. We have W. Lonnie Herndon, who is the senior pastor of this beautiful church, the Church of Christian Compassion. We have representatives and youth from 10 different community-based organizations. These are the DAO Violence Prevention Grant recipients, and we will formally introduce each recipient later in the press conference. I would do it now, but we'll be here for quite some time. Let me shift first to talk about gun violence in the prior week. Now understand, the week is from August the 7th through August the 13th. August the 13th was Friday, and we had a rough weekend. So the data I'm going to give you does not address that weekend. That will be in our upcoming conference. The homicides year to date, during the period mentioned through Friday, 337. This date last year there were 268. This is a 26% increase. Obviously, we remain in a very difficult spot. The only bright spot here is that not so many weeks ago we were at about a 38% increase, a 35% increase, recently a 28% increase, and as of Friday we were at a 26% increase. So if that continues and we continue to see reductions, obviously that would be a positive development. I can tell you that for the week August the 7th through the 13th, there were a total of 5 homicides and 32 non-fatal shootings. Every life, of course, has tremendous value. 5 homicides is a terrible thing, but I do think it's important to contextualize it. And that context is as follows. During essentially the entire period of the pandemic, we have been looking at an average of 1.5 homicides per day. That means about 10.5 homicides per week. Last week it was 5, which is less than 10.5. The week before, I believe, if memory serves, it was 3, and the week before that it was 3. Does this establish a positive trend? No. It's way too early to say that. But certainly it is better than if we were talking about 10.5 homicides. We can only hope that as we move farther into the fall, we start to see classrooms where there is that are open, and we have an increase in the level of preventative activities available to young people, both in and out of school. We can only hope that we will continue to see some reductions in gun violence. Probably not every week or not every day, but overall we can hope that we are going in the right direction. During the week of August the 17th through the 13th, there were 190 gun or gun violence incidents. Philadelphia police made arrests in 86. Of the 86 arrests that were taken to the DA's office for charging, we opened and charged 85 of those cases. I could go through several of the difficult events we've seen recently, but I'm only going to go over one, and that is, of course, the triple shooting that occurred outside of the data period I referenced, which was overnight on Saturday into Sunday morning at about 12:17 a.m. There was a triple shooting on the 1800 block of Judson Street in the 22nd Police District. Victims included a 21-year-old black male, a 25-year-old black male, a 31-year-old black female. All the victims were transported to Temple University Hospital and placed in stable condition. This remains an ongoing investigation. No arrest has been made by the PPD. Anyone with information related to the incident should contact the PPD's Central Detective Division at 215-686-3094. Obviously, also, we have seen homicides over the weekend. This is heartbreaking, and it is a reminder to everyone of two things. Number one, when we get the cases, when the crimes are solved, when we get the cases, we not only charge them, but we prosecute them vigorously. And our conviction rate, as of shortly before the pandemic shut down to a large extent the courts, was nearly 85%, an extremely high conviction rate. Anyone thinking about firing a gun at another human being, don't. Don't do it because it's wrong for you. Don't do it because it's wrong for your victim. Don't do it because it's wrong for society. And don't do it because we will hold you accountable and you will end up in a jail cell and you will be doing a bunch of time. Don't do it. For victims, any of you who may need some additional assistance with the trauma and the difficulties that go with having a loved one who has been harmed by gun violence, victim's family and community impacted by this kind of activity, please contact our Victim Services and Cares Unit for support at 215-686-8019. While we will continue with our efforts as enforcement, while we will continue advocating for forensics that the city of Philadelphia has needed for a very long time, not forensics 25 years later that prove the man in jail is innocent. Forensics right now, they can make sure that we catch and we prosecute the right person. We're going to continue enforcement in all those different directions. But we also want to be clear that we believe a key to gun violence is prevention. And so I'm now delighted to be able to turn to our second topic, which is that the District Attorney's Office forfeiture funds have been used and are being used today for grants to grassroots community-based organizations, 501c3s, that do important work in the community against violence. Please understand, many of these organizations are full of people who've been doing this work for free, or have been raising the money themselves, or have been paying for it out of their own pockets. Some of them have been doing it for years. This is a group of people who come with a spirit of service, they come with a spirit of community, and they are absolutely essential. In fact, they are uniquely placed to be able to carry out prevention in ways that government cannot. And so they deserve every bit of this funding that we are able to provide. Just a reminder, these are not forfeiture funds that were taken the old way, the way the DA's office used to do, where grandma's house would get taken just because a grandkid did something while she was at church. We're not doing that. That all has been changed, due in part to a lawsuit that is now resolved. The money here is not tax money. The money here is money that has been taken in ways that are legal, legitimate, and appropriate from people involved in criminal activity, most of them drug dealers, and it is being reinvested in the communities from which this money has come. There are 10 organizations, and I am delighted to start with the first. This award is to the Greater Hope Ministries Incorporated. Greater Hope Ministries Incorporated is dedicated to building a generation of African American student leaders who will promote respect, understanding, and cooperation while working to educate peers and to eradicate poverty, drug addiction, and violent crimes in their communities. At this time, I'd like to introduce four actually, some of whom will be speaking. The first is Dr. Marilyn Miles, the founder, who I understand will not be speaking today. Erica Robeson, a teacher who will be speaking. And we have two student participants. They are Joel Ritchie and Paul Braham. And the amount of this grant is $48,400. Would anyone who is speaking or who cares to come to the podium please come forward?
Good morning, everyone. I think I'd like to begin. I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you so much to District Attorney Larry Krasner and his office for extending this opportunity not only to us, but to everyone who's here. So Greater Hope Christian Academy, running under Greater Hope Ministries, we have a preschool through 12th grade program, but we're much more than just a school. We're a community. We work not only to give our students a greater hope for their futures, but a greater purpose. and a place where they belong. Our biggest project this past summer, we undertook our summer camp. So we not only have young students who are off the streets and have somewhere safe to learn and play, but we have our older students who are working as student leaders and as camp counselors and are finding new ways to just expand our community and make it a safer place for everyone. I have two students with me this morning, Paul Brigham and Joel Ritchie, who I think would love to tell you more about our program.
Good morning, everybody. I am Paul Brigham. I attend Greater Hope Christian Academy. And before I go along with the speech, Dr. Miles really helped a lot of people in our community, especially how in Southwest it's getting very dangerous. Dr. Miles helped students all over Philadelphia because Greater Hope became a safe haven for a lot of students around. Throughout the summer, I worked for Dr. Miles, and she helped everybody find a purpose this summer, something we wanted to do. She had speakers come in. She had fun things. She had a bouncy house every day for the kids. And she had also had some people come in and do face painting, tell stories about African heritage and everything. This program really kept a lot of students and counselors out in the streets this summer. Dr. Miles paid us our fair wage. We helped out, and this really impacted a lot of people because now a lot of people have a home to go to or a safe haven to really express themselves. But when you go to Greater Hope Christian Academy, you can be whatever you want. You don't have to hide who you are at that school. I can recall one day we taught the younger kids how to tie their shoes. And it wasn't a difficult day, but you know, we have little kids running around, playing, jumping around in puddles and stuff. And they couldn't tie their shoes, so me and my fellow Joel Ritchie helped them, teach them that. And honestly, this program really inspired a lot of students to do a lot of things, such as become basketball players, lawyers, doctors, and more on. I honestly do wish a lot of programs were like the Dr. Miles program, but thank you very much for your time.
So thank you so much. If anyone is interested in reaching out to us and helping us out, or even if you have a student you'd like to enroll, we're always available at ghca1992.org. Thank you so much.
Our second second violence prevention grant awardee is Amandala Incorporated. Amandala Inc.'s mission is to create safe spaces that combine the power of sport and education to empower youth and change lives through its Safe Hub youth and community development model. I would like to introduce Liam Connolly, project director, Jaylene and Mia, who are student participants. And the amount of this grant is $10,000.
Hello, thank you District Attorney Krasner for having us today. My name is Liam Connolly. I'm the project director for Safe Hub Philadelphia. With programs running in South Africa and Germany as well, we're part of a global campaign to bring positive youth development and community development to all corners of the world. For the last year, throughout the pandemic, we've offered Safe Hub's flagship soccer-based youth development program to a growing community of amazing young people from around North Philly and the city. At our core, we're a youth and community development organization focused on using sport as a vehicle through which to support young people building critical social and emotional skills to help them navigate the world they're inheriting from us and change it to be a more equitable world for them. In simple terms, through our values-based recreational soccer program, we focus on allowing kids to have the safe and stable space in which to be kids. We focus on bringing young people together with strong and positive role models as their coaches. We focus on ensuring that young people have access to engaging in fun opportunities to build their skills in teamwork, perseverance, respect, and discipline. Unfortunately, gun violence and the pandemic, particularly in communities like North Philly, have disrupted the livelihoods of our young people. With increasing threats to their quality of life, our young people need positive alternatives more than ever. For that reason, Safe Hub is committed to building a community of young leaders who lead with empathy and who are empowered to realize potential and change lives. And there's more work to be done. The generous support of the District Attorney's Office will extend our impact from sport-based youth development into young adult workforce readiness training and community resource redistribution to encourage a whole society response to our community's most pressing needs. Thank you again, District Attorney Krasner. On that note, I'd like to invite a couple of our players, Jalen and Maya, to say a few words about their experience as leaders in Safe Hub.
Hi, I'm Jalen. I'm part of the Safe Hub community, and I really like it here. It's a very well program to share with friends and family. They're supportive, knowledge, and they push you to try your best. They believe in you. They don't judge you. They believe in every footstep you make. They push you to go harder and succeed in life. It's a very well program for many years to come and play for the sports here.
Thank you.
Our third violence prevention grant awardee is the Committed Community Mentors. Committed Community Mentors' mission is to recognize opportunities within underserviced communities and serve as a mechanism for social change and development that enhances the quality of life of inner city residents, their families, and their community. It's my pleasure to introduce Tyrone G. Morris, who is the Executive Director, and also to introduce two student participants, Jada McClam and Brittany Dudley. The amount of this award is $17,000.
Thank you guys, and I'd like to say one thing before I get started. I'd like to say that the last few years have been very challenging for the city of Philadelphia. I think we experienced a great deal of violence that hasn't been seen in quite some time. In addition to that violence, we've experienced a transition in government, a transition to a policy that limits the control of government and enables an organization like myself to actually partner and make a difference. As the district attorney said, our mission is to recognize opportunities. We see this opportunity here to provide evidence-based practices and strength, meet you where you are approaches for community residents. Part of this money will go towards expanding our Safe Space Initiative. Our Safe Space Initiative brings together people from the community, provide them with a safe space for business entrepreneurship training, a free meal, free haircuts, open run basketball, and we also do family group decision making and restorative circles. Transformative mentoring is also part of what we do. Today I brought Jada and Brittany, who are individuals that we've mentored in the community. They're entrepreneurs, young people from the community who would like to engage the community, engage young women, and we're using their energy to help them establish evidence-based practices and a proper approach. It's not enough just to say, you're speaking to young women or you're speaking to the community. We like to bring that evidence-based approach where you have, after 6 months, you have some type of progress. We change the thinking through cognitive behavioral therapy and other approaches. So I'll give Brittany an opportunity, also Jada an opportunity to explain their program.
Hello, my name is Jada McClam, and again, I want to thank Mr. Tyrone because when he first started mentoring me, I came to him with my organization that I wanted to start, which is McLean University. And not only did he walk me through the steps, but he also helped me execute my vision. McLean University is an organization that I help young ladies start to become entrepreneurs. I'm sorry, I remember this, guys. To become entrepreneurs, but also help them with their self-esteem, also help them if they want to go to college to apply, help them how to apply. And it'll also, because when I grew up in the environment that I grew up in a rough environment, so I know how important it is to have a mentor and have somebody that you can look up to and that you can talk to when you're feeling down or you're feeling discouraged. And that's what we are providing, and here's my partner, Brittany.
Our fourth violence prevention grant awardee is YEAH, Philly. Youth Empowerment for Advancement Hangouts works to provide safe and authentic hangout spaces by providing culturally relevant engagement and implementing team-led interventions to address root causes of violence. Utilizing team action, YEAH works to interrupt the cycle of violence in West and Southwest Philadelphia through peer-led mediation and conflict resolution, community engagement, and economic opportunity. It is my pleasure to introduce James I., who is the co-founder, and Cameron Davis and Kyrie Brown, who are student participants in Philly, and the amount of this grant is $40,000.
First, I want to thank the District Attorney's Office for awarding Philly the Civil Forfeiture Grant, acknowledging the work and the impact of the work that we've been doing for the past few years. So Youth Empowerment for Advancement Hangout, we are a Black-led community-based nonprofit located at 52nd and Walton, where we work with teens and young adults in West and Southwest, ages 15 to 24, who have been impacted by violence. And we all know that's just about all of our young people in the city right now. But we have a special focus on those who are labeled to have violent histories. So we acknowledge all of our young people as experts of their own lives and prioritize on pushing back against these oppressive systems and addressing structural barriers that often lead to the violence. So because we are an organization led by young people, I also want to acknowledge the young people that are brought in the building today. The same young people who trust and rely on our leadership and guidance through all of our initiatives in West and Southwest. Some of those young people are Rod, who's out there, Cam, Manny, Rasul, Dominic. So I want to focus on the funds awarded. So this is a different shift that we haven't really announced to the public yet, but with these funds, we'll be able to continue our reach through our violent crime initiatives, where we've been providing holistic and culturally relevant wraparound support for teens and young adults recently released from the JJSC and other state placements. This population that typically has this reputation of no one wants to work with, too difficult to work with, those are the young people we felt are the most vulnerable and needs the most support. So when we talk about this cycle of violence, those are the populations that we tend to run from, but we tend to run to make sure we support them as much as possible. So lastly, before I turn it over to one of my young people, I challenge big organizations like the CHOPS, the Drexels, the UPenns, to follow the District Attorney's Office lead and start to fund more impactful grassroots like you see behind us. Like organizations with initiatives that's being aggressive and bold enough to really address and tackle the spike in crime and violence in our city. So I'm gonna turn this over to Cam or Manny, whichever one want to step up.
Good morning, Cameron. I just wanted to speak on some of the personal things that really helped me out with. So about some time ago, I was incarcerated, and so my judge was just saying I couldn't come home unless I had got a job. And there was some other people that I knew shout out to them, but they had connected me with Philly, and then within a few weeks,
Prevention Grant Awardee. It's a group called Raw Tools Philly. Now, I have known a number of people up here for quite some time, but I don't think there's anybody up here I've known quite as long as the executive director of Raw Tools Philly. Shane Claiborne is that executive director, and the way that Raw Tools goes about its work is a little bit different. Raw Tools Philly's mission is to, quote, disarm hearts, forge peace, and cultivate justice, unquote. They honor the grief and trauma of our communities by creating spaces to direct the pain and anger into concrete change. Their methodology is to turn guns into garden tools. I think there's a biblical reference there somewhere. Maybe Executive Director Shane Claiborne can elucidate that for us. But their methodology is to turn guns into garden tools, and it is a connecting point to nonviolent conflict resolution skills. If memory serves, not so long ago, Ovita Johnson-Harrell, who's known to many of you, participated in one of these events. It is my understanding that she was able to purchase the automatic weapon that she brought in far less time than it took to turn that automatic weapon into a garden tool. But perhaps as Mr. Claiborne receives the present grant awardee check of $29,000, perhaps he can shed a little light on all of that. Claiborne?
We're grateful to DA Larry Krasner and to the DA's office for this award. 10 years ago, we were inspired by the vision of the prophets, Micah and Isaiah, who talk of a world where we'll beat our swords into plows and spears into pruning hooks. We decided we don't have too many swords in America, but we have a whole lot of guns. We've got more guns than people, even though 2/3 of Americans live without guns. We've got about 5% of the world's population, but almost half of the world's guns. And so we began inviting people to donate guns so that we could repurpose them and beat guns into garden tools. So we've been making tools like this over the last 10 years. This is made out of the barrel of a gun, and even the handles of these are made out of the wooden gun stock. So with this grant, by the way, that's yours, Larry. We'll be creating employment opportunities for young people to learn the skills of blacksmithing and woodcrafting, to make things like this and to repurpose guns into more beautiful things like this love plaque that we'll give the DA's office. And we're also creating a network of safe surrender sites throughout Philadelphia, because it's not easy to get rid of guns. So we'll be training clergy and community leaders in how to decommission guns according to federal guidelines, and creating a network of chop saw churches and safe surrender sites throughout the city of Philadelphia. So thanks so much for this gift.
I'm going to assume this is not a reference to certain jokes about politicians and shovels. I'll just keep moving. Our sixth violence prevention grant awardee is Philadelphia Youth Basketball Incorporated. Philadelphia Youth Basketball, PYB, is a dynamic sports-based youth development, education, and community empowerment organization with a mission to create opportunities for young people to reach their potential as students, as athletes, and as positive leaders. PYB, Philadelphia Youth Basketball, strives to help student athletes build better relationships with learning, with adults, with peers, and with their communities. It's my pleasure to introduce Kyle Lafferty, who is the program director, and Lemire Mapp, a student participant, who is working in the I Am, because we are, violence prevention program. Present check is for $25,000.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Kyle Lafferty. I'm the program manager of I Am Because We Are, Philadelphia youth basketball based program. I'm here with my mentee, Matt. On behalf of Board of Directors and staff, and young people of Philadelphia youth basketball, we'd like to thank DA Larry Krasner and the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office for selecting PYB as one of the few amazing organizations to receive the Violence Prevention Grant. Many thanks to our friends from RVAD for Safer Streets in Richmond, Virginia, the Juvenile Unit at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, the Philadelphia Anti-Drug, Anti-Violence Network for inspiration, partnership, and support of our mentorship, anti-violence, and diversion program, I Am Because We Are. I Am Because We Are is a dynamic program led by relatable coach mentors. The program blends both SEL-based workshops, journaling, restorative circles, and the game that we love so much, basketball. Through this grant that we've been awarded, we will be able to continue to provide SEL-based supports, positive coaching and mentorship, and a safe space for at-risk and justice-involved older youth to learn, grow, and engage in productive activities. At PYB, our mission is to empower young people to find passion and purpose, aligning with their respective interests, and provide proper supports to young people so they can become the best versions of themselves. So I'd like to invite mentee Matt to share a bit about his experiences in our program, and how the relationships he's built with coaches, mentors, and his peers has impacted his life.
Good morning. Me joining PYB was basically to expunge my record. I was there for 3 months. I had brought a drug case, so it was a little bit of my record. But me being there, it was just a place to be productive. After a while, being there, my teammates, my coaches, would feel like being a part of a family. So it was just somewhere for me to be myself, and also taking away the trouble from my own city. So I appreciate those guys.
Thank you so much. If you would like to learn a bit more about Philadelphia youth basketball, please visit us at www.phillyyouthbasketball.org or check us out on social media. Thank you.
Right. So the seventh Violence Prevention Grant Awardee is the Nomo Foundation. Nomo stands for New Options, More Opportunities. Hasn't been that long. I guess just last week I was at the Nomo Foundation with its CEO, Ricky Duncan, and we were doing something really interesting. Perhaps I want to talk about that a little bit. But it is my delight to provide a grant in the amount of $25,000. Foundation's mission is to provide a safe space for children and teens to develop positive life skills and to nurture their potential to break the cycle of poverty. We have with us not only CEO Ricky Duncan, we also have, please forgive me if I mess this up, I'm trying. We have Sadia Abdus-Salam, and we have Richa Black, who are both student participants in the program.
First of all, I'd just like to thank God, thank Larry Krasner, the DA office, and all the wonderful organizations that's here that work with us to protect our youth in the city of Philadelphia. Thank y'all for y'all services, and thank y'all for coming today. Nomo is is an early initiative intervention prevention program. We're designed to hopefully cultivate the youth and get them ready for a better tomorrow. We do this through incentivized workforce development, case management, financial literacy, vocational training, career development, and we also host our Stay Safe Saturdays every week that we choose to do to keep our youth safe out the city of Philadelphia once a week. We get them on a bus. We just had the opportunity to take away 120 youth this weekend to great adventure, and that's why my voice ain't to what it is. But at Nomo, we do believe in real models. Real models is realistic reality with real people living their life in real time. So we call them real models or role models. So it's one thing for me to keep standing here and telling you about the program. It's another thing to hear the young people speak on itself. So I want to first introduce my young people.
Hello, my name is Nadia and I'm a part of Nomo. It's a really nice program. It's well organized too. It helps kids, young youth in the Philly community to find a place, to go to a place that's like a safe haven for them and for them to learn about like real life experiences. Because we learn about things like financial issues, how like, you need credit cards to get your credit score up, like, you know, how to invest in stocks and stuff, how everything might be a risk in life, and like how to like to pay your house. And we also learn like how to apply for jobs. They help us create resumes. We aren't able to get clothing for the entities that we are accepted into. They give us clothes for them. They just help us teach us about the things you should learn and things you shouldn't learn, things you should do, things you shouldn't do. And overall, they just help us a lot. They also, they also provide us with housing. Like people who aren't in a good home, they provide them a safe place to stay, live in. They give them food. They allow them to basically like have a good, nice childhood. And they have these things called Saturdays where they take us on trips. They also take us on other trips too. And I've been a part of them since about I think May, so a couple months. And they've taken us on these trips and they basically have us off the streets and doing these things. These young kids, they're getting killed in the streets, they're getting shot. There's police brutality. They're just doing things they shouldn't do. They're getting involved in gangs and stuff, and they're dying. But with Nomo, they're helping us stay off the streets. They're helping us do something good with our lives, getting us out there. There's this one girl who's going to Nomo and got accepted to over 50 colleges just because of this one organization, this program. So overall, it's an amazing program. You should really check them out because they've honestly helped us a lot.
Hello, my name is Rache, and to sum up what she just said, she said a lot. So, the program does supply us with a lot of activities during like Saturdays and Fridays. We also go to like Hershey Park and Six Flags and other activities they supply us with. And it's not just you have to pay for money. They supply us with it, and everything is free. And if you do not have the financial money situation, they have it. And all the food that you come like every Monday through Friday, they supply us with snacks, they supply us with drinks, they supply us with everything that we need. And also, it's a great program, and I think people should join it because it's a great organization, and the staff that's there, they motivate you to do your best. And if you cannot do it, they will try to help you no matter what.
Thank you to Sadia and Jay, got it right that time, I think, and to Mr. Duncan for the work they do. While it did not come up, I'll just fill in the gap. Most recently, Mr. Duncan was instrumental in arranging a discussion between young people who are at risk on one end of the gun or the other, and me, and representatives of my office. We've been doing outreach to the community. We've been trying to get the input from the community, but we've been told over and over, if you don't get in the room with the people who are in danger, you're not going to learn anything. And we had a really powerful gathering and conversation with a large number of young people. Went on for over an hour. We're very grateful to Nomo for helping to arrange that. Our 8th Violence Prevention Grant Awardee is the Asia Adams Save Our Children Foundation. The Asia Adams Save Our Children Foundation is committed to preserving, improving, and saving children ages 10 to 24 with a focus on health, welfare, safety to reduce unhealthy, risky behaviors, especially with teen dating violence, teen dating violence prevention. Their work includes outreach, health education, evidence-based training, awareness, advocacy research, and policy considerations. I am delighted to be able to introduce Sheila Harper, who is the executive director, and the amount of this grant is $20,000.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much to the District Attorney's Office for this grant. As you know, this last year has been extremely difficult and challenging, in particular, the high rate or increasing rate of intimate partner violence. You have had young people locked in the house, not in school, without a set of eyes extra on them from their teachers. We're talking intimate partner violence, we're talking physical abuse, we're talking sexual abuse, we're talking stalking, and we're talking verbal, emotional abuse. We have worked with about 25,000 young people since we started after Asia Adams, who is my daughter, was murdered as a result of teen dating violence. Currently, we are working on a research project that looks at a combination of opioid dependence, intimate partner violence, and maternal mortality, because those are big issues right now, and there is a relationship among teenagers. So we want to thank you so very much for the opportunity. The year has been very challenging, and so grants like this help us to hire help, because it's like I feel like an octopus a lot of times, trying to do a number of things. We have facilitators, but this will definitely help to undergird us for the upcoming period. So I just want to thank the District Attorney's Office and everybody involved in this process, and guarantee you we will give you that feedback once this opioid, intimate partner violence, sexual assault, maternal mortality issue is complete. Thank you so much.
Our ninth violence prevention grant awardee is Beyond the Bars. Beyond the Bars is a 501c3 student-driven music and career skills program that is dedicated to interrupting the cycles of violence and incarceration while helping our students recognize their immense potential and bright futures. We have a video, and my understanding is we're about to play it. The executive director is Matthew Kerr, and I am aware there's also a student participant. I'm not sure if she's in the video, but it is Sky Eban, singer and bassist, and the present check is for $12,000.
Hello, my name is Matthew Kerr. I'm the co-director at Beyond the Bars. Sadly, I cannot be there in person today as I'm away getting married, but I want to take time to express my deepest gratitude for the incredibly generous grant that was given for violence prevention. We used these funds to buy a mobile recording lab, which will allow us to have a recording studio essentially in Japan that will allow us to pop up throughout the city, whether it be at food banks, community events, after a shooting takes place, where we can have a safe space where young people can be able to express themselves through music. We'll additionally use this mobile recording studio as kind of an entry point into our larger musical programming. So if a young person enjoys recording at a food bank or a community event where they use the mobile studio, they'll then be able to be steered in the direction and any access to any of our other programs or any of our community partners. We are using this as a tip of the spear of trying to make a systemic change with all of our different community partners. We want to make sure that young people have access to as many resources as they deserve. This is not just to us, but with all of these community partners that we work with. I want to again express our deepest gratitude for this grant, and also just say how excited we are to continue to build a different system that everybody said. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking
mention granting awardee of the day is Community of Compassion, Inc. Community of Compassion, Inc. works to improve the quality of life, promote community development, neighborhood pride, and to empower people to attain hope, motivation, and the skills necessary to reach their personal potential. By helping to change the sociological, economic, educational, and family structure, people are enabled to have a safe haven where their lives can be transformed. It is my pleasure to introduce W. Lonnie Herndon, Senior Pastor, who will not be speaking today, and also to introduce Marquis Abrams, a student participant, and Vincent Gumbs, who's a member of the board, and Olivia Wakefield, another board member. The present check is in the amount of $28,000. The total of these 10 checks altogether is $254,400. I'll say a word about that later, and then we will take questions after we hear from Community of Compassion Incorporated.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vincent Gumbs, board member for Community of Compassion CCC. This is Olivia Wakefield. She's also a board member for Community of Compassion CCC. First, we'd like to take this time to just thank District Attorney Larry Krasner for all of his efforts, day in and day out, but definitely for what he's doing today, supporting so many community organizations. We really appreciate all of his efforts. Community of Compassion CCC has been around working in this community for the past 20 years. We have a wealth of organizations, programs and organizations that address the issues and needs of our community. But today, we're really excited to talk about our STOP program, STOP Anti-Violence Program. STOP stands for Students Taking on Prevention. And this program really is catered to help our youth gather the tools needed to avoid and prevent violent situations. So we do that through our community of care model, in which we bring together various community resources, whether it be our schools, whether it be law enforcement, behavioral health organizations, etc. Really bringing all of those tools together to pour into our youth so that they can avoid violent situations in our community, and overall just be a better benefit to the community. So today we'd like to invite Marquis Abrams, who is a part of this community, just to share his experience working with us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marquis Abrams. I just want to explain how great of an experience I had at Compassion. Compassion has showed me a lot of things, even as a kid. They have given me a lot of opportunities, such as jobs. I actually have gotten my first job at Compassion, and they've showed me things like discipline. They have given me a lot of opportunities outside of the church as well. I helped them bring in a boat. We did things like went all the way to Delaware, New York. We definitely traveled a lot. But not just that, they showed me things that would help me in life as well. Vince has always been a mentor to me. I always looked up to him. He always gave me a lot of advice, even in school, outside in my neighborhood, things in that nature. Even in school, he would tell me, focus on school, but also he would tell me, things I needed to hear, even if I didn't want to hear. They also inspired me to mentor other kids as well. I'm working at my mom's daycare, and I'm mentoring kids there. I'm showing them what I know. I'm definitely trying to show them a different way from how I was growing up. I'm trying to show them, what they can do differently. And it's definitely been a great experience. definitely appreciate them, and thank you for that.
Right. First, I just want to thank all of the organizations for the work they do. I want to thank everyone who spoke for their well-reasoned, interesting, articulate explanations of the important work that organizations do. A couple quick points, then I'll go to questions if there are any. First of all, I think it is important to recognize that we are not done. As of today, the District Attorney's Office has released about $500,000 into these grants. We made a commitment when we began to do this that we would give out $1 million over the course of the year, at least $1 million over the course of the year, and we made it a priority to try to get the money out while the sun was in the sky and the weather was hot. We have done that. We encourage our partners, our friends in Philadelphia government who are moving in the direction of prevention and have done so with prevention money in a way we haven't seen before in Philadelphia, to move that money. There's a lot of talk about $155 million being set aside for prevention. Well, not exactly, more like 68, with the other money already having been in things similar to that prevention. But we didn't come here to quibble. The bottom line is if you got 68 or if you got 155, or we'll call it a blended $100 million, if you got $100 million out there, which you have lined up in response to what the community asked for, that money needs to get to the community. It's a headline until it hits the street. It needs to get to the community. We are encouraged the money is there. That money's got to move, and it's got to move before a year from now. Government sometimes moves like a glacier. We don't have time for a glacier. It is too hot out there. We have to move this money now. Second point, besides the urgency, besides my request that my partners and friends in Philadelphia government be quick, be agile with this money, is that there is talk in the city about not releasing any of those millions of dollars to organizations unless they already have a budget that is between $500,000 and $25 million. Well, I doubt that there's an organization in this room that has a budget between $500,000 and $25 million. And frankly, while there are some great organizations in that category, if you're trying to do something new, you're not going to get to new by giving that money to the same old organization. You're not going to get that new by giving the money. You're not going to get to new by giving the money to organizations that may have a little bit of political sway. There isn't any political sway here, no offense. You ain't got it yet, no offense. But what there is here is real energy coming from the community for real change. And the more we lift up organizations like these, organizations that have fought for so long, often they have fought with very limited resources, the more we lift them up, the more we're going to see what really can work in Philadelphia. So I must, again, encourage my colleagues, my friends, my partners in the city of Philadelphia to look at organizations that don't have a budget that rises to the level of $500,000 and to see how they can contribute. The way that 501c3s can apply for our next round of funding, and we do expect to release some more grants probably after Labor Day, is the same way these folks got there. And that is by emailing the Philadelphia Foundation at this email, grantmakingservices at Philafound, PHILAFOUND.org. Philafound stands for Philadelphia Foundation. Grantmakingservices at Philafound.org. Receives the applications, which are simple, vets them, and then makes recommendations to the DA's office, and then we make our own independent decision about them. Final thing I'd like to say before we go, a lot of money. The city has come up with a bigger chunk of money, 155, I'll just call it $100 million, because that's what the community asked the government to do in Philadelphia, put $100 million into prevention. We still need to hear from private industry in Philadelphia. I still need to hear that they're willing to match that $100 million. There are mega corporations headquartered in the city of Philadelphia that make more money than you can imagine. And they have been very, very good about getting tax breaks. Tax breaks that are not available to mom and pop's pizza shop. They've been very, very good at getting tax breaks in the tens or sometimes more than $100 million. Show me the money. Where is the money, Comcast? Where is the money? Comcast, show me the money. We have academic institutions in this city that are nonprofits. But they're kind of nonprofits like the NFL is a nonprofit, and it is a nonprofit. What I mean by that is that the revenues going to the University of Pennsylvania in a single year are on the order of $15 billion. Revenues, 1 year, $15 billion. And with all these great academic institutions and very large nonprofits in this city, come on now, show me the money. It is time. We need $100 million from government. We need $100 million from private industry. We need $100 million from these giant nonprofits. And then we could be talking about something more than a headline. We could be talking about long-term reduction in violence in a city that has been chronically high in gun violence. This is something we can do. But I ask my friends and colleagues in private industry, and I'm asking my friends and colleagues in the large nonprofit sector, including our academic institutions, with their enormous endowments in some cases, I'm asking them to step up. If government in the brokest of the 10 largest cities can find $100 million, then so can you. And we need you to partner with us. We need you to do this with us. I know you've all been pretty quiet. This is only about the 10th time I said it. But the time for being quiet is over. You are going to have people knocking at your door. You are going to have people marching in front of your headquarters. And they should march in front of your headquarters, because we should all be in this together. Philly is not just a place to come to make a profit. Philadelphia is a community, and it is full of people. And those people have made you rich, and you deserve their support, and they deserve your support. So we're asking you to come forward. Academic institutions, we need you to come forward, and there's something in it for you. There are unprecedented opportunities for research here about a pressing topic in the United States, one of our most pressing topics. My office is ready, willing, and able to partner with you on that research. But you're going to have to show me the money. That's the reality. We need to get there together. And with that, I am available for any questions, and so are the wonderful organizations that stand with me here. Are there any questions?
Can you state specifically where the money comes from? You mentioned criminal activity, but what's the particular mechanism?
Well, the legal mechanism is known as civil asset forfeiture, which is authorized under Pennsylvania law. It basically means that money that is either the product of criminal activity or assets and money that are used to perpetuate criminal activity can be taken by the state, and they can be turned over for other good purposes, including remediating the harm that's been done. The vast majority of this money comes from drug dealing, simply put. And, as I said, we're not doing things the way they were done before. This is not stealing grandma's house. We're following all the requirements that resulted from years of litigation over some practices in the past that were, in my opinion, illegal and immoral. But that's where it's coming from. We are taking profit that has come out of the community from some predatory behavior, and we're trying to put that money back into the community that was harmed by that behavior. Are there any other questions? Yes,
Por
sir.
Telemundo 7-2 after you're done. Yeah, if you
Okay.
can Espanol.
We could do the press conference over again in Spanish if you
No,
like.
no, just una pregunta.
Might take a while. Are there any other questions? All right, thank you all very much.